growing as humans and changing. So it makes sense to me that we would change and evolve our careers as we grow, you know? How do we even like live our personal lives and how do we, want people to perceive us? And I think that that was just like a core value of ours is just being optimistic and generous and with our joy. And I find 10 times out of 10 that the product is always better when you're collaborating with people who have the same, drive and heart and vision. I think if more people would understand and see that they are creative, I think that they would begin to open up a whole new world. So I've really had to be intentional about doing creative things for myself as well that like bring life to me.
Hi everyone, I'm Camilo Torres, and welcome again to Flow Community Podcast. In here, we're going to have amazing conversation with the beautiful people that has joined our community. We're going to get a lot of inspirations for their life journeys, passions, creations, because we believe that when you share your unique story, you can inspire others. So please enjoy this new episode, and also I would love to invite you to join our community. And if you would like to be part of the podcast, please go to our website, flowwithcommunity.com. Thank you. So please welcome Tatianna Tolliver. Hi, Tatianna.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for being part of the community and thank you so much for sharing your story and can't wait to learn from you and your experiences. And yeah, thank you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been following you what you have done. You're a co-founder of the Optimism Studio. I mean, I would love you to explain because I love the name, by the way.
Thank
Uh, so I just would like to know why you end up doing this, and would love to know a lot of about your journey, your professional journey. So yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't go to school professionally for what I'm doing. I went to a 2-year photography school in New York, and that is kind of where I started. Photography is something really close to my heart that I've always loved. And I grew up in a pretty creative household. My mom went to school for art. My dad is a musician. So there was a lot of that growing up. So it was very encouraged, I feel like. And I'm so lucky that it was because it really like stewarded these gifts and talents in me that I really loved. So I started with photography a little bit and then it kind of snowballed into doing more graphic design, social media, all of those kind of things. And I didn't even really, I feel like this whole professional career chose me and not so much me choosing it because it was something that really just fell into my lap and the doors just kept opening for me to kind of like go this route and this path. So I kept having people ask me like, "Oh, can you shoot our event or can you run our social media? Can you rebrand us?" That kind of thing. And it got to a point where I was like, I can't keep my day job. There's so much. And so I kind of started to really take it seriously at that point, full time. And then a dear friend of mine that I worked with for a while at a company doing more like art directing and creative directing there. I ended up founding Optimist Studios with him because we had worked together for a while and we knew that we worked well together, we're great friends, and it was just like an easy fit. And so we felt like we could take all that we had been like learning and growing and gathering over the years in a company and really bring it into the marketplace and build something that we were passionate about. And so Optimist Studios was kind of birthed out of that. And even just the name itself was kind of just approaching everything with a glass half full mentality. And whether it's people who are just starting out, or maybe they've been in business for a long time, or maybe it's a personality, whatever kind of like realm that they find themselves in, we approach everything with a positive attitude and really believe that we can make something beautiful together, whether you have a lot of experience or not a lot of experience, a lot of resources or not. The whole idea is that the process should be beautiful and exciting and fun as you're building something, and we want to make it that much more exciting for someone to be a part of it and not just like a chore, but really something that's beautiful and inspiring to be a part of. So that's kind of the heart of Optimist and where it kind of stemmed from.
Wow, that's really nice. Thank you so much for sharing. And what did you do before? Like, what was you doing before co-founding The Optimist?
Yeah, so before I had actually another company, I've always worked for myself pretty much. And
Wow.
so I when I was really, really young, I did like I nannied and that's kind of where I started. But I started a company myself doing a lot of this, but primarily social media and photography, more so on that end, graphic design. That is I started that at like 18, 19 years old. And so after I made so many mistakes with that, and I learned so much, and I grew so much in that it kind of prepared me to open more of a formal agency with Optimist. And so even my friend, he kind of almost was someone who really like pulled me out of my shell because naturally I feel like a little bit more timid or a little bit more reserved. And he was someone who really like saw something in me and he was like, no, we should do something together. Like there's something here. And so from that, and I think the encouragement of other people, like family and friends, they were like, you should do this and go for it. So that was kind of where it stemmed from. But I have worked with him for so long, even before we started Optimist, because he hired me to do art directing for companies that he worked for. And so I really have been art directing primarily for most of my career. And a lot of it was more of like a freelance type thing with my old company. And then Optimus has become, a full-time, more official agency type style. So, but we don't consider ourselves a traditional agency. We are a little bit more of a boutique agency because I think sometimes in agency world, they really come in with this like predisposed idea of what you need, and there's these set packages, and this is what they offer, and it's a little bit more rigid. And while we do have structure and packages and that kind of thing, we really want to hear what it is that the client needs and the heart of the client and what they're looking to build and grow. And we kind of remain agile by having like a smaller team, and then we can build the team around the need of the client. That way, we're able to really customize things for what they need and what they're looking to grow and build. So, yeah.
Nice, very interesting. And what was like, I mean, you always been a very entrepreneurial
Yeah.
mindset, and I
Yeah.
love it. And what do you think that I mean, maybe your
Yeah.
parents help you with that mindset, or how did you develop that?
Yeah, I think being from New York is a big part of it.
Okay.
Just because it's very much the culture there of there's a hustle culture and you have to make it, and it's just such an incredible city. It's my favorite place in the world. There's nowhere like it. But I think there is like a hustle culture there of like you have to kind of like make your own way and anything's possible kind of thing. And so my parents both being from there, I think they had a lot of that in them. My mom is a first generation American. And so my grandfather actually is probably one of my biggest inspirations because he was extremely entrepreneurial and he just even pioneering coming to America from India. And he had so many different roles. He was a driving instructor, he's a real estate agent, he did psychology and counseling, and like there were so many things. He was a graphic designer, he was a photographer, so he really dabbled in everything. And so I think that was very inspiring to me growing up because sometimes I think there's a pressure of like you have to be one thing and you have to figure out what this one thing is. And he, through just like watching him live his life and even having conversations with him, I think he removed that like pressure off of me, of just like you can figure it out, and it doesn't mean that what you're doing now has to be what you do in 10 years. Like it may evolve and change as you grow and as you change. So I think like it was very encouraged in my household and in my family to like try things and make mistakes and be entrepreneurial and figure it out kind of thing. So I'm very grateful that my parents did give me that foundation because, I didn't go the traditional like college route and all of that, and my parents were so supportive of that, and I think that that was like a big reason why I started my career so young, is because they were supportive of that and encouraged that in me. So,
Wow, that's fantastic. And I love that. I love everything you share. And you're right. Like sometimes, I mean, the way that our mindset is now, or it's all about like, hey, just do one thing, and then if you're out of it, it's not right. And I am with you. And then it's really hard. Like that's why I ask you that question, because you had from your family, you have some examples but some
yeah,
other people don't, and it's really hard to get that mindset. And it's okay
absolutely.
to do a lot of things.
Right.
And then with a lot of things, you can be excellent, and it's
Right.
good. Or try and then just move on.
Right. I agree. And I think even trying different things sometimes helps you be so much more satisfied in what you are doing because you've tried these other things and maybe it wasn't a good fit or maybe it led you to this, but now you know for sure like, oh, this is my passion. Like I'm so passionate about it. And it just makes you well-rounded too. I think it's great to try different things. Like, down the line and 10, 15 years from now, I could see myself like branching out into other creative opportunities and endeavors that I haven't really dipped my toe into yet. But I think like this has been such a good foundation of that, and it really does allow you to kind of figure things out. And we're always growing as humans and changing. So it makes sense to me that we would change and evolve our careers as we grow, you know? And, when you're first starting out, there's just so many opportunities and options. It's hard to even think about choosing one thing. So, yeah, I think removing that pressure, especially if it's a young, someone in their teens or 20s trying to figure out what they want to do, I think removing that pressure from themselves is really important because I think it allows you to really kind of figure out what you want to do without the weight of that being on your shoulders.
I agree. I agree. And I think not only young people, I mean, yes, about young
Yeah,
people, but I think everyone.
yeah,
Sometimes
right.
life gives you an experience that you have to change completely. And then you have to just be calm and say, okay, let's go with the change. And
Yeah.
this change will be for the better. Um, so-
Reinventing yourself. It's never too late to reinvent yourself.
Right, yeah, correct, correct. Amazing. And I love, wow, thank you so much for sharing that. And then I guess it's very related with your studio. And explain a little bit more about the name because I love it. I mean, but it's something to do with you or your power. I mean, how the name come out.
Yeah, so it's so funny. I think it organically happened a little bit. We were having conversations and kind of talking about how we wanted people to perceive our brand and our company and all of that. And I think we have worked with so many different incredible creatives over the years and partnered with different people. And through that, you definitely experience people who approach their work with a optimistic attitude, and then you also experience people who maybe don't approach it with an optimistic attitude, and it is more of like that pessimistic type outlook on things. And I think we had just encountered some of those times where we felt like, oh man, we don't really align with these people creatively because there is such a negative outlook on things. Or like if something goes wrong, it's the end of the world, that kind of thing, like if we're on set. And that was just something that we always wanted to, like we wanted our team to be so optimistic, even if there were challenges and things, because not, that's just the reality of life. Things are always going to happen and go wrong on shoots and in campaigns and all kinds of things. And like you have to problem solve and all of that. But we really wanted to approach it in a sense of like no matter what, we're going to approach things with a glass half full mentality and be optimistic about whatever challenge it is that maybe the client's facing or that we're problems we're solving for them. And so that's kind of like our brand promise and our brand approach is that, when you're working with us, there may be challenges along the way. We may be problem solving and figuring out where you fit in the marketplace and what you want to look like and sound like and all of that. But we will always approach it with an optimistic point of view and attitude and solving your problems, whether they be big or small. So that was just something that we kind of were like, how do we even like live our personal lives and how do we want people to perceive us and I think that that was just like a core value of ours is just being optimistic and generous and with our joy and all of that. And so we kind of really wanted that to translate into our agency because sometimes it can be, I think agency life can be kind of a stressful environment sometimes, and it can be pretty cutthroat and that's just the nature of it to a degree. But we wanted to kind of flip the script a little bit and be unique in that sense of like really approaching it with more of like a mom and pop type attitude with a lot of heart and a lot of drive, but really putting the client first and being super positive in every aspect. So that was a big part of it, but it really just organically kind of fell into place and happened, which I think also is cool because it was just so natural and it just felt like a natural fit for what we were trying to do. So yeah.
Yeah, wow, I love it. I love it. I have so much things to say. But I mean, I love like what you said is on the attitude that you put on things. Maybe things will flow if it goes, if you do it that way, if you put your positive mindset, if you are very optimist, if you're so everything will flow. And I think the energy and yeah, and the result will go that way. And I guess yes, you said there's going to be always problems, but those
Yeah.
problems will get sorted so easy when you have
Right.
another mindset.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. And then I think on personal point of view and what you said, I think this war has been teaching us a little bit wrong in terms of let's do everything like hard and like I don't know, not positive, like not being soft. That's what I was
Yes.
saying.
Yeah.
And being soft and being like kind and I'm being very positive and being optimist things flow so nicely and everything
Yes.
goes so well and even for yourself I mean if you work that way but also internally you don't
Mhm.
have any pressure.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I love too what you're doing. Like, I think it's so important to bring that whole mindset into anything that you're doing, whether it's work or whether you're starting a company or maybe you work at a company, whatever it is, like, and in your personal life, all of that. I think how you approach whatever it is that's before you is so important and so valuable. And like you said, like flowing with it and going with the flow and just allowing things to kind of like take form and happen as they're meant to, but also being so positive about it in the process. And I love like even just when I met you, I was like, you're so positive, you're so full of life. And I just love the flow community because you've really cultivated that in what you're building and what you're doing as well. Which is why I just feel like Optimus is so aligned in that sense of like there is such a positive view and energy on both like flow and Optimist and all of that. So I love so much of what you're doing. It's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Tatiana. Oh, I love it. And you are doing something very magical as well.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I love that. And okay, so going back to your studio, I think something very special for you guys is like the collaborations that you're doing with artists, well, with all creatives. Uh,
Mhm.
how important do you think is collaboration for
Mm.
your studio, for yourself? Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny. I was talking to my business partner Ty yesterday, and I told him I was like, I think the biggest thing I've learned this year is like we are better together. Like we're better collaborating with other people. And that was has always been like a core value and a pillar of Optimist. But I think this year we have realized that on a newer level, and a bigger level because we've partnered with some we like larger scale companies or larger scale clients and deals and that kind of thing where the project is so big and we have so many people on our team, whether it be like on the client side or people we're bringing in on our team or partnering with and all of that. And it's just so big you can't do it alone. And so finding people to collaborate with who share the same values and vision as you, I think is so beautiful and to be able to collaborate with people. And I find 10 times out of 10 that the product is always better when you're collaborating with people who have the same, drive and heart and vision as you. And I think it's beautiful to bring different people to the table and to see what you can build from that because, everyone brings their own set of skill sets and their own background and all of that. And I think when you can bring all of those things together to the table for one common cause, it's so amazing to see what you can create from something like that because and that's the beautiful thing is like you're never gonna have the exact same team on any project. So there's always like different variables and things. And I think that that's so cool because we've just learned how important it is to lean on other people and for the best idea to win. And it doesn't matter who it comes from, but allowing that dialogue and conversation as we're discovering maybe in the early phases of the creative process, talking to the client and having those kind of like creative workshop meetings, discovering, okay, what do we want to do here? What's the goal? What's the vision and all of that? And just having that open dialogue and ability to talk with people is really beautiful to just be able to hear that and for creativity to flow in such a safe environment. I think that is something that's so invaluable and such a beautiful thing to be a part of. And that's one of my favorite parts of the job is like the earlier phases of like collaborating with people because it is so special. And really, when you're creating art, it is a very intimate thing. Like it's a very vulnerable thing to be able to like just share your ideas with people and
Mhm.
that kind of thing. But I think that really stretches you and grows you, and you become a better creative, better at your craft when you are just putting it all out on the table. And it's like, it doesn't matter if it's a good idea or a bad idea, it's going to lead to the best idea. And that's what matters because we're all here for one common goal, and that's to put out the best campaign or the best brand that we possibly can. So, yes, I think that that's definitely like such a huge, huge thing to me is collaborating with others. Yeah.
Nice, nice, love it, and completely agree with you. And I mean, I'm not far away because I'm an architect, and when I was doing architecture, well, collaboration was important. But anyway, I think in all in everywhere and even in life,
Mhm.
collaborate and being part of a community and collaborate with each other is important. And
Yeah.
I think when you said about the process, the creative process and being vulnerable, it's so magical because that's when you learn from people.
Yeah.
And that's when you and then like relating it with flow, like every time that that's why I said that I'm always get excited when I get a podcast because
Yeah.
it's time for me to learn and I
Mhm.
love it. And well, we learn from each other, but I love like everybody's experiences and I love it. And this is amazing because then it's a collaboration, right? And then you grow within.
Absolutely.
Yes, amazing.
Love
Thank you so much, Tatiana, for sharing that. And
it.
how, talking about creativity,
Mhm.
uh, I mean, you've been in a very creative family, but how creativity helped you with your journey so far in terms of life or your entrepreneurial journey? How that helped?
Yeah. I think it has been like a cornerstone, um, just so invaluable in my life, period. even before I entered my professional career, like growing up, it was always an outlet for me when maybe I didn't feel, maybe I didn't grow up always having like a lot of friends. I had friends, but not, I wasn't like the most social butterfly around. So it was such a haven for me to be able to kind of like cultivate those things inside of me and just experiment and grow those things in me. And I think it's kind of, I think a lot of times I've even looked at my creative abilities and those things kind of as like a friend in a way. As funny as it may sound, like it's been something that's consistently been in my life and grown over the years and something that I've run to, whether it's a good chapter in my life or maybe not a great chapter in my life, it's been something that I can use as an outlet to express myself. And that is something that has just been really beautiful to have. And I would encourage, even if people don't feel that they are creative. Number one, I think everybody is creative. So that's my perspective on that. I think everyone is creative. I think we were created to be creative in our own ways, but I would just encourage everyone to test their limits in that because I think it really does unlock things in you that you didn't know were in you, and it allows you to search different parts of yourself that you probably didn't know about, or they were dormant and you weren't, expressing that side of you. And I think it really is a really beautiful tool to be able to use that. And that can look like so many different things. It doesn't have to be, like designing a brand or even drawing or anything like that. It can be so many things, like even in architecture, that is extremely creative, and like writing and public speaking. Like there's so many things that are creative in life. And so I think if more people would understand and see that they are creative, I think that they would begin to open up a whole new world of inviting creativity into what they do every day in a different way. And I think that that is just something that I encourage people to do because creativity has been so instrumental in my life. And as I've grown, it's grown with me and it's taken different forms and different shapes. But like I said, it truly has been kind of like an outlet for me when I haven't, maybe you don't have anyone to talk to, or you're afraid to share things with people. I think expressing yourself in a creative way first is such a good step for you to be able to kind of unlock those things and learn how to even share your emotions and express your emotions. I think it's such a beautiful way to do that. And so it's definitely helped me in my adolescence and growing up, and even now, like I definitely take time to do creative things for myself that are outside of work. Because if I'm only creating for work, then I can be drained and I don't have any creativity left to give. So I really tried to make sure in my schedule that I include time for myself to refuel and be creative for me. So doing something that I love, whether maybe it's like going out to a park and reading and doing watercolor, like it could be anything. Or like taking a walk and listening to like new music or going to a movie. There's so many things that can inspire you and inspire you to create. And I'm always absorbing things from what I've seen or what I've watched and all of that, what I've heard, all of those things to me are always speaking to me and always inspiring me. So I would say kind of having that outlook on life of like everything around you can inspire you creatively in some way. And so that has helped me because otherwise, if I'm just, you know, doing it for work and it just becomes a job and I'm not stewarding the other side of me that's just enjoying it, then I think it takes the fun out of it. So I've really had to be intentional about doing creative things for myself as well that like bring life to me.
Wow. Oh my God. Yeah, that I don't have nothing to add. It's amazing what you said. And I think because flow and the base of flow, it's the same as you. Like
Yeah.
I am flow. We believe that we all creative souls, and we need to like tap that creativity in all of us.
Yeah.
And yes, I just imagine a world that people just they just like tap that little flame of creativity, and no matter that the creativity, no matter that you have to do the end result perfect or something, it's just like creativity could, yeah, as you said, like the way you dress or cooking or anything. And I love what
Right.
you said, that you are a creative, you work in very creative way, but I love it that you say I also look for something personal to be creating, and I love that, and it's so important, and I am with you 100%. That's the mission of Flow. That's
Yes, yes, I love that so much. Yeah. Yeah, you're so right. Like, I think fashion is such an easy, tangible thing that is like something you do every day. You're putting on clothes every day. And even if, you don't have to be like the next fashion blogger, whatever. But I think that that is such a beautiful way to express yourself. You do it every day, and being intentional with what you put on your body, I think is a great example of you want to feel good about yourself, and you can be creative with that. And cooking as well, like what you put in your body matters, and it affects how you feel and all of that. So, yes, I think intentionality in everything is so key to living a creative life, really. So I love that flow community just like values that and encompasses all of that. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, love it, love it. Thank you so much for that
Of
amazing,
course.
amazing words. Yeah, thank you. Right. So to end our amazing podcast, I have three questions for you. So you could answer with one word or one short sentence. Then the first one, which is very related of where we were talking, what is creativity for you?
I think creativity for me is expressing the truest parts of myself in an external, tangible way. That's
Nice.
what I have to keep it short, right? I
Love
could go
it.
on. Okay.
We can
Okay.
go. I think we can do another podcast to talk about creativity.
Right. Right.
100%.
Yeah, part two.
Thank you. Amazing. All right. And the second one, what is your current creative expression?
Oh, this is a good one. I love this. I would say I'm in the process of putting together a book of a bunch of my illustrations that I've done. I'm not anywhere near done, but that has been my outlet is I illustrate, and so I've been doing that for myself of like taking 30 minutes a day to just illustrate something small or continue working on something, and eventually when I have everything, I'm gonna put it in a book, like a coffee table book. So
Oh,
that's my personal goal right now.
nice. Love it. And let us know when it's ready. I would love to
Yes,
see.
I will. I will. Thank you. Yeah.
Nice. And to end, what is flow for you? Flow was the word.
The word flow. Um, Man, that's a good one. I think when I think of flow and I think of creativity, I think that they're so synonymous together. And I I think in general, I find myself I'm a very go with the flow person, just naturally. And so I think flow and the flow community and just even like having heard you talk about flow and just flow in general, what I think of is just allowing things to flow out of you and allowing yourself to express yourself creatively in whatever form that may be. But yeah, just I think we can sometimes like block ourselves off from things or be scared to kind of let those things out. And to me, flow is just kind of removing that barrier and allowing yourself to just flow naturally and let it come and let it be what it is and celebrating that.
Love it. Thank you. Amazing. All right, Tanya, thank you so much for this amazing
Oh,
podcast and for your time.
absolutely. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Bye.